Welcome to today's collective reading. This is TrinityGaiaOracle. Let's see what Spirit, Divine, Source has for us today. Okay, first of all, I have a couple of Moonology cards that were called to be pulled. First, we have Clear Your Mind, Last Quarter Moon in Gemini. There seems to definitely be quite a bit of shadow present here. And you're trying to determine exactly how much is illusion or delusion, how much is projected, how much is your own shadow self being triggered or leveraged by this projection from the outside in versus what's already present and ruminating within yourself. It's coming to the surface to be healed. So it's making some space to be able to really reflect on that. Now, some people, they find that much easier to do by keeping themselves busy. They find that their mind will process things better when they do things of like an orderly fashion versus sitting quietly in solitude in meditation. So you know your mind. Work with what you know best about how your mind will process things such as, subconscious thoughts or feelings or emotions to help you organize so you can see things a little more clearly and differentiate. And then we had New Moon in Virgo. Trust all will be well. In the image, there is just, like a little bit of a fingernail of light to this moon. It's predominantly dark, and the light is more towards the earth side, towards the physical aspect. There's quite a bit of darkness there. So like it may seem like it's overwhelming, but this too shall pass. In time, that will be a first quarter moon, and a half moon, and a third quarter moon, and a full moon in Virgo. So let's see what the tarot has here, what Spirit has for us in tarot. Right, so this is really beautiful in the receptive energy. I'm going to start with what's at the top of the deck and the bottom of the deck. Now, I will say if I'm using gender terminology such as feminine, masculine, please know that this is describing energy of assertive and receptive. Assertive being more masculine, receptive being more feminine. And do invert the gender labels if they identify more with someone who may be an assertive energy but is a feminine individual in your life, a woman, and vice versa. So at the top of the deck, what we have here is, it's androgynous, but I am getting more of a feeling of receptivity. Yet there's an aspect of the self that has very much with this King of Wands, assertively chosen to be receptive to connecting with your higher self, your divine self, that purity within you that is beyond ego and anybody's ego. That might help with really having that fine discernment between what is you, what is your wounding, your self-projections of illusions and illusions that you have, of the filters that you see the world through, versus those that are being projected onto you from outside of you to impact your path in a negative way. It can also be a test for you to really be able to determine between different energies around you that are not necessarily physically present. And then on the bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Cups and the Moon. And this spoke to me of two separate individuals. The top is one side of the connection, and the bottom is speaking to the bottom side of the connection, the other side of the connection. This is a masculine energy that, while you have assertively chosen, I'm going to say the top of the deck is you, just for purposes of the reading, that you have chosen to be open to connecting with your higher self, that divinity within you, to the divine within you, to that purity of that truth. Even though it's scary, it's a bit intense and it's otherworldly, you're not going to be able to really speak to someone about that and then go, oh yeah, I was there, I saw that, because like it's between you and divine. At the bottom, because that's new territory for you, and for the masculine energy at the bottom of the deck, going through their shadow work with the moon, they know their history, they know their woundings, and they know how they got where they were when they met you. And they became aware that they needed to step outside of their comfort zone as well in order to meet you where you are and where you're both choosing to go. So they had to move through that moon, through that shadow work, and not just kind of glaze over the unpleasantness, but really move into the heart of it. And that would be quite uncomfortable. However, the moon was something they've already traveled through. And it's brought them a greater connection to themselves and appreciation for their own strength, as well as for the depth and strength present within you that they didn't understand before they went through this moon space, this shadow work aspect. You, with your connection to the higher self at the top of the deck, choosing to do that, it takes great courage to move into the unknown, almost that curiosity of a child, of a new mind, a beginner's mind. Now, what came through and what was pulled for the receptive energy here, you both have been contributing to what you are desiring to create, but there are energies around you that are influencing and trying to distort your perception of what that is, because it's somewhat of a mystery. In this image of the Two of Cups, we have two sides. Both sides of this are receptive to creating this, are receptive to receiving the manifestation. However, their eyes are closed. So there is an element of the divine desiring for there to be surprise, for the divine to add that unique mix to it. So that is where the honing of that discernment of what really is the energy of this other person that you're creating with. And what is this influence that's not either of you and it's not divine? What illusion belongs to the two of you and what is being projected onto the two of you? Honing that awareness, but knowing that there's this light above their head that's kind of glowing over them both. You're definitely guided. If you find yourselves at a point where you just feel you can't go any further, know that that's like a signal to the divine to be like, okay, we need to give you a little more information here. Maybe you are ready because you've reached this point to know a little bit more, to handle a little bit more awareness of this. And then we have the Emperor. The Emperor is number 4, so it's foundational. This is a balanced, assertive energy. And he's looking to his feminine. He's missing his Empress. He's wanting that space to be filled. And he's willing it into being. He has fire in one hand, and the side that he's looking to, he has his hand open like he would be holding her hand if her throne were there next to him. But she's not there yet. However, what you see is a feminine form that is meditating her world into being. She's visualizing it, she's feeling it, she's sensing it. She's creating it. She's doing so by going within herself. And before her, it is materializing, but she doesn't necessarily see that yet. So he's observing her create and get to know herself. And he's missing her. He's looking forward to receiving his Empress in all that she's chosen to be. Creating that balance, moving from the Two of Cups to the Emperor and the Empress. And him with his hand like that, he is definitely receptive. So he's definitely part of that co-creation. And you have the Chariot. Because once this Empress opens her eyes and she sees what's before her, she knows exactly what she wants. She knows exactly where she's going and why. Nothing's holding her back. Nothing. No matter the illusion of being surrounded by desolation and lack of water to create life with, she knows where she's going is abundant. I'm hearing come hell or high water. I will reach my destination. So she's willing to do the shadow work to get from point A to point B, and she's willing to challenge herself, and she's willing to call bullshit when she sees bullshit. But she's also very much in tune with truth that she does encounter. So she's balanced. What she's creating is balanced. It's like she's almost ready to open her eyes. There may be an invitation to work with a familiar, which is a term pretty much meaning your pet, the animal that you love. Animals act as energy filters for humans. You'll find that if a human is ill, that the pet will start to become ill too. If the human is stressed, the pet will show signs of stress. To be consciously aware of that dynamic energetically with your animal, with your pet, be it a cat or a dog or a horse or even, I don't know why, but I'm getting cow. Because you've seen those videos where they play just like a dog with the ball. They have quite a bit of a personality. So however, connection you may have with the animal kingdom that is very intimate like that, every day kind of a relationship, to speak with them and thank them for helping you work with these energies. And at times, if you're really going through something heavy, to tell them that it's not for them to process, it's for you to process in this instance, or to invite the divine to kind of help them work with the energy if you sense that they're really just being a little overwhelmed. In that, you will have an ally, a connection with Gaia, with Mother Earth, with the animal kingdom, with the elements that is also aiding you in this process. Because you're working with a lot of big energies here, and not all of them mean you well, which means not all of them will necessarily impact the innocent, open-minded perception of an animal. They're very similar to children in that we'll have imaginary friends until a certain age, and then we're told that they aren't real, and then we stop seeing them. A lot of children see paranormal things, but adults, we don't see them anymore because we've kind of bought into that they're not really there. We've accepted that to be accepted in society every day, we can't be talking about the individual that's standing there that nobody else sees, and things not get really weird very quickly socially. So animals, they'll see things that we don't because they're firmly in the now, and that concept is utterly foreign to them. Allow them to let you know sometimes what's going on, even if you're not necessarily aware. Definitely an ally. Those are very strong messages for some tuning in here. So I do hope that validated that it's not just you. They really are seeing something. They really are feeling something. And they very much do care about you and are very in tune with you. Then we have the Nine of Cups, and temperance. And this is coming out over the connection between the emperor and his empress that is realizing her empressness. I mean, he maybe doesn't necessarily realize this, but his empress isn't just the empress. Oh my gosh, I just melded the two there. Thank you, Spirit. That was where we were going. His empress is temperance. Wow, okay, I just had a pressure change in my ears, shifting from left to right. Ooh, where the right is hearing more clearly. That's interesting. We have some definite masculine energy that is very much finding that fascinating right now. This image, she's definitely divinely guided. There's no question. She is of earth. She is practically of the water and the mountain. And yet, she's of the ether too. So there is this challenge to the chariot in this connection. And that is the Five of Wands. Now, the Five of Wands in this deck looks an awful lot like the Ten of Swords. It's telling me that this temperance empress is looking at this Five of Wands like, nah, you're no Ten of Swords. You're capable of being overcome. You may be all like wily and tentacly and false lighty, and you may feel that you have some kind of a trickster energy to you, but you're no match for actual love, true love, divinely guided light. And the divine, yet again, just like the light over the Two of Cups here, it is present with you. You're never alone. Even if you feel that you are, you know that it's an illusion. To remind yourself of this. Don't deny yourself what you feel. Let it move through you. Let it flow through you. But don't hold on to it. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go to the divine. Let it be anchored into the earth. Let Gaia help you. Allow all that helping energy to help you determine really exactly what the truth is from what is not true. This is no Ten of Swords energy. This is something that is capable of being overcome. It's not the end. It's a teacher for you, a challenge for you. And being that it's not Ten of Swords, it's possibly realizing that this Empress Temperance, as well as for this Emperor energy who is watching, it's realizing that the obstacles that were before you, that you both were probably having quite a bit of anxiety about. When you are willing to go with the flow, you're willing to hear yourself, sit with yourself, and seek balance in everything. Like it's even applied to things in daily life. There's a saying I grew up with, hearing around the home, of everything in moderation. Anything in excess is going to cause likely some kind of a health issue, was what the context was in the saying in the environment. So everything in moderation, seeking balance and harmony, and always being open to hearing, receiving information from that divine connection that you have with your higher self. That at the top of the deck, this definitely seems to be for this individual here that is connecting with that. This is new in a sense of it's coming closer to you. It's working more directly with you. It may come through with like words, but it's not going to feel like ego. It's going to be different. It's going to be different. But that's only because you're at this stage right now where you're needing words, you're needing concepts that are concrete, less of this abstract, broad stroke. You're You're wanting to really anchor this in order to achieve this Five of Wands, not being a Ten of Swords. So that is coming in. The divine is providing that. The divine recognizes that that's what you're actually needing, that you're seeking, that has been kind of having you in the Seven of Pentacles, meditating, figuring out, going within what your world that you're seeking to create really is going to be for you. In spite of all this external energy that's wanting to have a say in what you create. I'm going to pull just a couple of cards here for more of the assertive energy, but wow, I think we just about have that covered. So let's see here. Okay, so for the assertive energy, it definitely makes sense as to why I felt when the heightened awareness of the Emperor, the masculine energy, really tuning in, and that pressure change in my ears, and how the right ear was just, it was able to hear better, and the left ear was kind of muted. Because left side is more receptive, feminine, right side is more masculine, assertive. However, with like the brain hemispheres, it's a little more switched, a little more different. But the sides of the body still resonate with those two polarities, those two opposite energies that work in harmony, ideally. It makes sense because there's quite a bit of anxiety. He's not just open and receptive and waiting for his Empress, who is also Temperance. His Temperance Empress. Oh my goodness. It's a tongue twister. Say that a couple times fast. Excuse me. What came through with the assertive masculine energy for this Emperor energy that you're identifying with here in this reading, that has done that shadow work, and they're just keeping a light on for you. You know, like, oh, the countryside, every light in the house is on, just in case you come home, kind of a deal. Yeah, they're anticipating you moving out of this meditative, self-healing state, position. They're looking for a signal from you, and they have been reaching to the divine, communicating with divine, like, is it time? What about now? How about now? I need to know. I don't see my way out of this desert. Help me. See, has she moved out of this space yet? Because he can't communicate with you until you do. And his communication, he's concerned that his communication won't arrive in time, because the longer you stay in this Four of Swords, or I'm really seeing the connection with the Seven of Pentacles, that meditative state of like really figuring out what you want your world to be, what it looks like, feels like, all of that, all of the senses. He can't come in until you move out of that space. And his concern is that he won't arrive in time for you to not find yourself in a Ten of Swords, which synchronizes with the Five of Wands, which is why that connection came through. So he's got to feel pretty good to know that because you're an Empress, or a Temperance Empress, oh my goodness, that's so going to be the title. He's got to be relieved to hear that you're not going to be in the end. Because in this image, like, she has 10 swords falling down on her, and she's apparently oblivious to it. So he's very concerned that once he gets the signal that he won't be able to get to you in time before you believe that it's done, it's over, that he won't be able to change your mind or communicate with you in time. A lot of anxiety with that. And he has also got Chariot energy here. Yes, this is a Seven of Wands, but what I see is Chariot. There is constant balance, and he's holding his chariot in place, waiting for that signal. Waiting. And he knows that what hangs in the balance is the connection and your ability, and his as well, to be in Queen of Cups energy. Meaning that you both wanted to experience giving and receiving without keeping score, non-transactional in any way, completely unconditional, always receptive to give and receive your truth, your honesty, your genuine perspective, always giving your presence completely to one another, right? And I say that because that blooms out from that in so many ways, and that resonates as right and true. To experience unconditional love in a connection like that is rare. We typically will see that here and there between parents and their children. I mean, it's sad when you don't see that between a parent and a child, but you do more often see that between a parent and a child. But you both have manifested experiencing that in a lover's connection. And it is time for the two of you to be able to experience the healing, the life, the lessons about who you are that you can only learn from someone that can reflect you so completely back to yourself, to teach you and to know that you're teaching them, to hold space for one another, always. They've been ready to fully move into action. And there's forces that have been moving around them that have been making it very hard for them to not be in this state of anxiety. So, in this, what's clearly coming to me is that the universe, the divine source, is asking that you try to see this from their perspective, that they are holding so much together and yet holding so much at bay. And yet they're not forcing you. They're not pushing you. They're not demanding. They know that you need every moment you have. They're so incredibly patient with you when they feel so much pressure. That tells me that they're aware of how strong you are, how much you have to process to be able to become a temperance empress in order to turn this 10 of swords into a 5 of wands, that was necessary. And you've done that there was so much you had to look through, overcome, integrate, change, make different decisions, allow yourself to see things from different perspectives within yourself and how you relate to not just you, but your world around you. You had so much that you were moving within you that it required you to not just be an empress, but to be a temperance empress. They know that you are their equal and that you need that time in order to bring in the manifestation of that unconditional love between the two of you. And they're giving you every minute that they can, every second that they can. Wow, okay, totally just had a flash of the Jupiter Ascending movie where he tells the captain of the ship to give him every second that he can as he grabs two like suit things. You like press them to your chest and like they break apart in little tiny pieces and then they completely engulf the individual and keep them safe in space. And he goes out after her. And he really does need every second. And it ends up working out perfectly. I remember the line, they're just sitting there above Earth looking down at it. And he's like, "Could somebody, I don't know, open a door?" Yeah. So that's the reading. You just gotta take a deep breath and decide, yes, is it time? Are you done searching within, and are you ready to start bringing what's within you out to the world? Not just the earth, but the ethers too, to communicate, to be that in between, to be that channel, to be the Empress Temperance. Oh my gosh. Saying it that way is a little more of a tongue twister. Are you ready to realize that that's not just what you're capable of, but it's who and what you are? And if you know that about yourself, can you really go back to not knowing that? And what do you want to? And I'm already getting the answers from the majority of you guys. So you don't have to walk tall. You can walk humbly with it. People may never know that this is what you do, and that's fine. You're fine with that. It's not an ego trip. It's very humbling to realize how much power you hold within yourself when you're so incredibly balanced and in a receptive state to that connection between all that is. The divine within me honors the divine within you. I'm incredibly grateful, honored, humbled, and just thank you to each and every one of you that co-created this reading. And I really hope that you found some synchronicities within this reading that validate you, that let you know you're not alone in this, that even though you may not be yet communicating with this very assertive energy, that you're aware of one another in some way, shape, or form. And that confirmation for you is coming. You both are in chariot energy. You're both ready. Yours is major arcana. Theirs is 7 of Wands, but man, it is ready. It is ready to be chariot. So, the divine within me honors the divine within you. Namaste.